It's time once again for the Long Talk Podcast. And here are your hosts, Dave, Zaid, and Chris. Take it away, guys.
Hi, I'm David Hensley, Creative Director of Long Walk Productions, and yes, the mic is on this time.
Yay!
Oh, I'm Zay Patterson. I am a local voice actor for Rock Hill and just all-around cool guy.
So formal. I'm Chris Reinhardt, and I am no one of significance currently.
And we've got a guest here with us today, Zaid's brother, Ted Patterson.
Hey, I'm Ted. I'm just a bum off the street and here to sell you some fresh, empty Coke bottles.
And there we go.
Yeah, there we are.
All right, podcast over.
All right.
Yeah.
No, we are. This is episode 2, and we
It's the Phantom Menace.
No, that was episode 1.
No, you know.
This is Attack of the Clones.
Oh, God.
All right.
Yeah, Zay,
Sorry,
finish
I'm getting all choked up.
Finish your sandwich, Zay.
Oh, the sandwich he's trying to eat is coming back up at the thought.
Good, because that's what happens during Attack of the Clones.
Oh, he's thinking of the stilted romance. There it is. No, that's the sounds they were making.
Oh.
What a fresh start.
Yeah. Well, welcome new listeners. We've already turned you off.
Yeah, what a wonderful start.
Eh.
He's trying to get Star Wars and then Zay choking on his sandwich.
No, we don't need that. Yes, we do. Please stay.
Anyway.
No, well, we were just gonna just jump right in because last time it was very much on the spot, and we decided to give each other formal, kind of like basically formal challenges.
The out of our comfort zone challenges.
And boy were they! We each had an assignment, and we're gonna go through them and talk about them.
Such excitement.
And
in your
maybe,
voice.
As we try
To
no.
recap, the out of the comfort zone challenge for Zaid Patterson was to read 50 Shades of Grey.
I only read 50 pages.
50 pages of Grey.
Spoilers.
Chris had to watch the first 6 episodes of Lost.
I sure did.
And I had to watch the Grand Budapest.
That's Hotel. Don't mind his speech impediment.
It was a very good movie. It's a very great title.
Yeah.
You recited it very well.
I picked the order of reviews because I know it's gonna get funnier if we go me, Dave, and then Zaid.
Oh, God, really? Okay, because 50 Shades is the one that no one wants to do.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I didn't want to.
That's right. That's why you threw it at Zaid the first chance you got. No one was going to make
I
anyone.
passed the buck on that one.
No
as
one
quick
was
as I
going to
could.
make anybody
No,
do
yeah.
that one. By the way, I never planned for that to come up at all, and yet you just sprung it first chance you
Come
got.
on. It's all about attitude.
You just started swinging that mace around and just aimed for Zaid's face right out.
50 Shades of Mace.
So, I'm going to take that away from you.
I like how this podcast is like a 19 like Leave It to Beaver kind of thing. Where it's just like boy howdy, I sure did.
I got accused last time of using the sound effects too much, so I'm going to try to
More.
No, I'm going to tone it down just a little bit.
I thought you were going to say dial it back
You're
and
gonna
use a
get
clock
fined
noise.
for it now.
Shut up.
There you go. All right, I've used them one each now.
You need to show me what you're using so on days when you're not here, I can just play that and you can have your full contribution.
Yes, thank you.
You'll be here in MIDI.
It's on like a timer, so it's like after 5 minutes it just goes. Wah.
What do you think, Dave?
So-
No.
So David's like just some kind of like R2D2
Totally.
character.
We just take clips of Dave going.
That would be really interesting. Just have a computer on a timer, so it's that for certain sounds, and then just like trying to have something ready for that specific sound.
Is that one again?
What was that? No,
okay.
that's the end of
No?
that.
All right.
Don't find new ones.
Fine.
So
like-
what-
All right, well, let's get this started. I want to
All right.
hear your opinions on Lost.
what are we
Chris.
even doing?
Let's hear some opinions.
Well, my assignment was to watch the first 6 episodes of Lost. I'll start with the pros. It sure was a TV show. I'll give you that. No, I will admit I thought I was going to. When I thought about watching 4 episodes, I was like, "Oh, this is going to take forever." No, it went pretty quickly. I mean, I was watching them, and you know what? It was well made, and I think it was acted reasonably well, and it's just. So let's get to the cons, shall we?
Yes, let's get to the thesis.
I'd like to interject that I love Lost. I've seen every episode. Was a huge fan. Didn't think I was going to be, but I was converted. So now I want to hear Chris's thoughts as somebody who jumped right in there.
Well, your life has gotten so much better now that you see how wonderful Lost is.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love it. It was just very
It was just there.
It really was.
You lost me.
Very much so, to the point where it's like the pilot. If I had the choice of stopping after the pilot, I would have been fine.
Oh.
Nothing really happened. And by the time things had started happening, I knew there was no chance I was going to voluntarily keep watching.
See, I will agree with you on that because I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes. I had people on my back thought, "Oh, you got to watch Lost. It's so great. It's so great. You're gonna love it." And I started the first season right as the 5th one was starting live. Mm-hmm. I made it through the first couple of episodes.
I remember that way back as you were talking about catching up.
Yeah. And I did not enjoy the first couple of episodes either. It was, I think, episode 4. You're going to hear a lot of spoilers today because, Lost and all of these things have been out for quite some time now.
Lost ended a few years ago. You should spoilers.
It really.
I don't plan on watching it anytime soon.
What ultimately drew me in and kept me interested for a while was Locke getting out of the wheelchair. That was the first big, the reveal that he was in a wheelchair was the first hope.
I admit that was good. That was pretty good, but it was overall,
like going to a concert where it's your friend's uncle's band, and you're like, oh, and they keep trying to say like, oh, let's get through this song. Oh, let's hear their next songs are really good, and you're just like, can I go get a corn dog or something?
Yeah, and part of it is just. I think part of it was just me because very much when things catch fire like that, I don't tend to get into them.
Right, that's half the reason I was reticent to start it too.
Yeah, and it's just when things blow up like that, I like to find things on my own time. Yeah. But now actually sitting through and watching it, it's like I wouldn't have enjoyed it anyway. And it's just like, part of it was the pilot. Well, thank you.
What?
Shame on you.
I was just coughing.
Shame on you for having bodily functions.
Excuse me, I was sick for a whole week.
I know.
Excuse me. Well, one thing I gotta ask is with certain kinds of shows, it's like it gets to a point where something. It's like a big decision or like some kind of like change in execution happens, and I'm just like, whatever. And so like with Lost for you, what was the point when either like some kind of action or some kind of change where you were just like, I don't care to this show at all. Like this doesn't interest me. Like what was the point where you were just like, I'm done?
You ask good questions. We should have you moderate this the entire time. I think it was that math comm degree.
College.
I think it was somewhere in the middle of the pilot when it just felt to me like they were trying too hard to hook me.
Uh-huh.
Like it felt like they were just grabbing by the face, going, "Isn't this intriguing? Isn't this weird? Vague mysteries are happening. You need to keep watching." And it was just like, well, so far a plane has crashed, and they heard rumblings in the forest. And the guy who you don't find out was in a wheelchair originally until episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
He's like, he just leaned over to a kid and said, "A miracle happened." That's creepy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
did the character know the child prior to, or just randomly it's like a miracle happened?
I get why he's acting like that, and it's kind of funny because I was thinking about that earlier. It's like because he's still giddy out the fact that he can walk again, so he's like, "There's like we need to go into the forest and get food. I'll go. We need to trek up the mountain. I'll go." I found your dog.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because they were the father and the son, Michael and Vincent. They were traveling with a dog, and
Vincent was the dog.
Oh, Michael. Who's the son?
Right. Walt.
Michael. I'm sorry, Michael. Walt. And they had why would they name a dog Vincent?
Why does anybody give dogs people names?
I know, but
why do people get dogs?
Because dogs are wonderful. Shut up, Tim.
No, it's the natural progression. I'll allow it.
Come on, let's escalate the joke.
No,
why
no,
do people have dogs? Why do people have cats? Why do people have children? Why? Why are people?
Now,
why?
I will get behind
Hang
why
on.
do people have children.
Hang on. You just equate children with dogs and
that's-
cats?
Yes.
That's called an accident.
No. This went,
There it
Wrap
is.
in.
this went to a bad place. No, I was just looking at the dog. They had like a retriever type of dog. I was like, that's not a Vincent. That was my problem with it. I was like, that's
Wow.
So your big question for that whole thing was just like I would not name that dog a Vincent. It's like that. He looks more like an Andy or Bart Whiskers.
he was definitely a Rufus. No, it was just like, Locke was just extremely giddy to be able to go and do things and fulfill his spirit of adventure that he didn't have anymore. And that was kind of interesting because you got a glimpse into a very, very sad, lonely life. And then he got on the plane, and after it crashed, he was able to move again. And then you got the son and the kid, the dad and the kid who don't really know anything about each other, and like they were just going to start a life together when the plane crashed. You got the Korean couple. That was the episode. That was episode 6. The Korean couple's sort of first bit of backstory, where it turns out that in order to marry his wife, the Korean guy had to end up working for her.
Mobster dad.
Yeah, it was very evident that he was in the Korean mob at that point.
Yeah, talking about the formula of Lost. Hey, isn't this a mystery? Hey, aren't you intrigued? That is something that so many shows have attempted to varying, mostly lesser degrees of success.
It's that's the one thing. It was that a lot of where, especially it's like we got to go to the go-to. Is that like with the fans of like Doctor Who and Breaking Bad, and it's just like the big shows, and it's like it's the fans that ruin shows like that.
Yeah.
It's because they always like come up to you and just say like, "Hey, this show is the best show you've ever seen, and I'll murder you if you say otherwise." And I mean that's a lot of how a lot of people approach me. I've gotten a lot of threats to be like, eh. But
yeah, there's a lot of shows I avoid like that, mainly because I'm afraid the reaction is if I don't watch something, is what? You're not watching blank?
Yeah.
What?
yeah, it's like the dehumanizing that people give you if you haven't seen a television show.
Now, granted, I've reacted like that a few times, but
but
I always drop it immediately. It's like,
And
really?
and it's like, and I've been guilty of that too. But it's one of those things where it's just like, it's just you pass it off and just be like, well, when you get the chance, watch it.
But also because part of it is like, sometimes I react like that. It's like, I thought that would be right up your alley. I thought you would have seen it already.
Yeah.
But that's really my big reaction.
Now, see, that's the reason your options last week that I threw out were first 6 episodes of Lost or first 6 episodes of Breaking Bad, because Breaking Bad was that show that everyone I knew, Nathan Reynolds, was like, you've got to watch this show. You've got to watch Breaking Bad. It's the best show on television.
It's funny.
You'll love it.
Was that he would hold you up to gunpoint and like say watch it, but yeah.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You go ahead and finish your thought.
No, but it was just like with shows like that. It's like I always like to just give it time. Just like wait until everybody calms down, and also wait until the show is actually like finished.
That's a
or
good
done.
plan. I understand.
Very rarely do I find a show where I'm just like, okay, I'll wait like every week to watch it. But since we don't have cable anymore, it's like it's kind of hard to do that. But
Internet.
yeah. Well, it's.
Well, if you're not willing to torrent, it's kind of a slog.
Right. Well, that was one thing when it came to shows that are already out, was that there's always internet to watch it. But then it's one of those where I forgot where I was going. Next.
I think I brought that up to say I'm pretty sure I'm the only person alive who didn't like Breaking Bad.
Oh, no, I didn't either.
Okay, thank you. I forced my way through.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. Is that granted? It got in, like I said with like when I asked Chris this, it was just that there was a point where I just got bored.
Uh-huh.
Is that
point?
after Gus fights it,
Oh, see, I didn't even make it that far.
Well, it's that, to me, that was where I was just like, and I'm done. Because that whole thing, to me, was like very, very exciting. I was just like, well, how's he going to get out of this? And a lot of what the turnoff is that got a little bit boring is also the setting. It's also who the characters are. Because one thing that I really got confused with was that they made Walter White into like, he's like the kingpin and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, he's a cook, isn't he? So it's like, he doesn't have that much power, per se. And it was just like, looking at where the characters are, I was just like, this really isn't as big as I think it is. Of course, then what do I know about drug rings and stuff like that? But it's just like the characters and everything, and it's like, you gotta watch the show with a specific, like, what am I watching? Am I watching the angle of, like, his business booming, or do I watch the angle, which, this is the one where I saw that what you're supposed to watch is the transformation of Walter into Heisenberg. And that's the thing that you're watching with that show. But it's just that all the characters and everything, I just got bored.
Yeah.
I stopped watching after Gus died.
It was funny to me that you wanted me to watch either Breaking Bad or Lost, because I just realized the dichotomy was either I picked this one with a huge fan following that was meticulously planned from start to end, or I watched Lost. Which was them going for 6 years. Oh, it's totally got a plan. You're gonna see. Oops, we were making it up all along. Oopsies. But
so you were so it was either a choice between very strict, like Catholic nun, or the very clumsy man.
How long did it take you to think of that one?
Oh, I've had that for a while. Here's another question. So a bunch of strangers a bunch of people are ended up stranded on this remote location, and they are plagued by mysterious dangers all around them constantly, and and then there's a fight amongst themselves. Am I describing Lost or Prometheus?
Prometheus, the classic legend, or Prometheus, the Ridley Scott movie?
Prometheus, the movie that was also written by Damon Lindelof.
You're describing Lost. That wasn't the plot of Prometheus.
I just got lost after you said that.
Yeah, that wasn't the plot of Prometheus.
It seemed like the same thing for me. What I'm saying is because it seems like he does the same thing all the time, which is just because he said I write things that I want to raise more questions than it.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not why you write things.
Raise questions, he did.
Yeah. I don't like that style of writing, and that's part of it. It's just like, hey, here's more stuff to contemplate while not answering anything that you want. And it's just
unless they're trying to do like it's one of those like open-ended plots to where it's like you make up the story in your head, which makes it a good story, right? But it was very like because the one time I saw that done right was actually in the video game Shadow of the Colossus, where it's like they don't tell you anything,
right?
And they just say go fight these monsters, and then you have to figure out wait, so are these monsters bad or good? Am I really the bad guy?
The problem, I was bored. That was the problem. Yeah. It bored me, and
exactly
like this is supposed to be exciting and interesting, and what really killed it, I don't. It's weird. I don't go heavy into a lot of sci-fi or fantasy stuff, and so when it's really like a light sci-fi, I'm really turned off unless it's intriguing because it's like what really hooks me most, usually regardless of theme, is if I like the characters and the story. Mm-hmm. It's like usually I'll like that regardless of theme. But there's no real hook to it.
It's almost the audience is supposed to be like the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Like it's entertainment for them because they're like, I bet you knew it. And
that was every night of Lost when I finally started watching it live with other people. It was, all right, episode's over, time to go outside and chain smoke and
talk about what we
I bet this is going to happen next week, and then it wouldn't.
Now, when you say light sci-fi, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, like when you're talking about there's differences in grades of like sci-fi and fantasy.
So it's like
heavy. I'm thinking so high and low.
So would you say with light sci-fi, you're talking about like Lost and X-Files and like things that are setted in like the present, like modern day, but then it's like sprinkled with like sci-fi kind of things, would you say? Instead
Sort
of
of.
like the other end of the spectrum, which is like Firefly, and it's just like completely sci-fi.
Sort of. Because you can still be in like a futuristic setting and still be like, I would say low sci-fi. Because like
Kind of like, what's that George Clooney movie? Solaris.
kind of like that, yeah.
Where it's like, it's somewhat sci-fi, but it's really
like the
more
attraction isn't the sci-fi
Right,
aspect.
exactly.
It's very much this
the drama.
very much a heavy drama, and it's like this is the setting.
Would you say like kind of like Fountain?
No.
Or it was just like it's that
yeah.
the mystic fairy sci-fi thing about it is very, very small.
Well, here's what I'm saying. The fact is, you could have made Lost a drama about people surviving on an island together without any sort of mystical aspect.
Right.
Like, it's a very minor addition, but
In the beginning, as
Yeah.
the show goes on, the
right. I know
myth
it progressed
Yeah.
and went to Goofy Town, but but in the beginning, that's easily. I feel like they did that on purpose. So it's like, we don't like the sci-fi aspect. Oh well, it's gone then.
Right.
They could have easily done that. Fun fact: I read this a while ago. At the time, the Lost pilot was the most expensive TV pilot ever made when it was made,
Really?
to the point where I think they ended up firing the president of ABC for greenlighting it before
Wow.
because they took such a huge risk on it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it came back and it was good for them in the end. But still, I understand why they did it. It was like, really? You took a gamble on this?
Now, see, this is going to be interesting no matter what you watch, because either I was probably going to agree with you vehemently, because I assumed you wouldn't like Breaking Bad.
I probably wouldn't have liked Breaking Bad, and I don't think I ever will sit down and watch it because I don't like the premise. I don't like sitting there and watching a man fall into the meth trade for hours at a time. And see, that's why I don't get into a lot of shows like that. It's like, I understand dark themes don't scare me, but it's just not something I want to invest into heavily. And I think it's like, because I've ended up sitting through episodes of Justified with you before, and Justified I think is something I could probably end up watching in the future because it looks like a very interesting show.
Yeah.
Listen, I need to watch Justified.
And like I said, Justified has a lot of great characters that pull you in.
Well, it was that I'm trying to think. The first show that
especially colossal dumbass Dewey Crow.
Well, the first show that I ever like binge watched on Netflix was House of Cards, because I love Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Kevin,
and he's an incredible actor. And at the first minute, I was just like, with the huge monologue that he has when he's murdering a dog.
Yeah,
and
I have seen the opening, and that is.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm in. And he breaks the fourth wall. I'm just like, this is wonderful.
They had an article about that, talking about that was like the make or break moment where they knew, like, the people who would enjoy the show would stick with it, and the people who wouldn't would just immediately stop right there.
And it was great. And I love
that is a hard scene to sit through.
It's that I found out that I love
to look forward to when I eventually start watching it.
Oh yeah, it is right out the gate, it is a very. He's addressing the camera as he is.
As he's like putting down this dog.
He's euthanizing a dog that got hit by a car, and he's doing it.
And he's just like, there are two kinds of evil.
Yeah, he's talking to you as he's doing it.
And
you don't see anything. His arms are out.
Yeah, and he's just looking you dead in the eyes while he's choking a dog. And
that is the first real interaction you get with the character.
And the thing that I love about that show is that they kept that breaking the fourth wall and like letting Underwood bring you into his world, and it's just like, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
this is what I think about that person.
I like that device. They use it on Malcolm in the Middle. It's a good effect too. It's like they're letting you know, we know you're along for the ride.
Yeah, and it was great because like the first 2 episodes were directed by David Fincher, and so then it reminded me a lot of like Fight Club and all the elements of that. And are we going too far?
No, keep going. It's fine.
But it was that I loved that show because it was just like a lot of, not only because it was dark, and I love like dark shows, but it was that I love political dramas, which is why I love Game of Thrones so much, because it's medieval political drama.
Right.
And it was just like, the characters were wonderful, the plot, and just the fact that Kevin Spacey's character was was a senator of South Carolina, and they had an episode about Gaffney and the big peach, and I thought that was really, really funny. But that was the show that really drew me in, and I was just like, there's nothing I hate about this show.
I thought you were gonna say something.
Oh, I was gonna. All right, so that was Chris on Lost.
Yeah, that was.
So now we're going to continue on with my glowing review of the Grand Budapest Hotel. I said last time I'm going to keep this quick because literally I have no pros to talk about. It's all cons.
Now, if anyone who listened to the first one will recall me saying, well, maybe he's gotten better over time, and I am about to eat those words.
Yeah. I am not a huge Wes Anderson fan to begin with. Sorry, Chris has more to say.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just wanted to jump in. The day we recorded that first podcast, just a little background. When I gave him the challenge, I happened to also say, hey, I've got a free rental code from Redbox.
And thank God it was free.
So I was like, well, may as well just go ahead and rent it and watch it. And so I ended up sitting through it with him.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan to begin with. And that's why this was part of the challenge, the outside your comfort zone, blah, blah, blah. I'm similar to how I'm one of the few people alive who does not enjoy Breaking Bad. I'm apparently one of the few people alive, and especially one of the few film enthusiasts out there who did not enjoy Bottle Rocket or The Royal Tenenbaums. He's made one movie that I've enjoyed, and it's The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. It's one of my favorite movies. Everything else ranges from meh to bad, and
that's an upscale.
Yeah. So they threw out Grand Budapest Hotel because they hate me.
I did. That was me. I apologize.
And Chris thankfully had this free Redbox rental, and thank God for that because we didn't have to pay money for it. This movie, what did it end up being? Like 145?
An hour and 40 minutes.
Hour and 40 minutes,
and
which shocked me when it was done because the movie felt like a solid 2.5, 3 hours.
Only 3? It was funny to me because apparently both of us at around the hour mark were just wondering how much longer does this have, and I made the mistake of looking it up online. And I was like, 40 minutes.
Yeah, at some point I looked down, and again it was around the hour mark, I looked down at the time and was like, this has only been an hour. This is like Chinese water torture.
Well, it couldn't have been as bad as The Raid 2.
We'll talk about The Raid 2.
That's another episode.
That's a whole other episode of this podcast.
Stay tuned.
We'll leave that to the episode called it's like Great Expectations, Horrible Disappointment.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
But anyway.
Grand Budapest was an hour 40. The Raid 2 was 2:35, I think.
Which felt like 2 days.
And they felt the similar amount of time to me. I don't even know where to start with Grand Budapest.
Let's start with a brief synopsis.
Lighting.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You tell me what Grand Budapest Hotel was about.
It's that I've only seen trailers. The only reviews that I've heard of this movie was from Mom saying it's just like, it's a great show. And it's that, so just go from the beginning, just tell me the whole shtick, like what is it?
Okay. It's a story within a story.
Within a story within a story.
Well, but I mean, ostensibly it's a story within a story. A guy is talking to, I don't know if it's like for a documentary or what, but he's looking into the camera and he's telling a story about how he traveled to this fictional country in the
30s.
It was the 30s? Okay. He's telling the story.
Yeah, that's where the whole story. It starts in present day, flashes back to the 80s. The 80s flashback flashes back to the 60s.
Okay.
And the 60s flashback flashes back to the freaking 30s.
Yeah, so this guy's telling a story.
I think the first 6 episodes of Lost makes more sense than that.
Yeah.
Yes. It is a girl reading a book by a guy who interviewed somebody who told him a story.
Yeah, so the guy travels to the Grand Budapest. So the guy
And we're watching a movie about this.
The guy travels.
With us so far?
The guy travels to the Grand Budapest Hotel to, I don't know, it's in a dilapidated state. It's going to be closing soon. And so he runs into the guy who apparently ends up is the owner of the hotel, and the hotel owner of it now tells the story of how he came to own it, which is he started as a lobby boy in the Grand Budapest Hotel when it was at its height of fabulousness, under the guy running the hotel, who was a legend for
wonderful Ray Fiennes.
Well, yeah.
It's one of the few good things about
very
the movie.
great. The character is this very raconteur, man of all talents, who is just perfect in his role as the main concierge of this hotel, and just a very unflappable, cordial kind of guy.
Now, I don't know about the three of you, but when I think of Wes Anderson, one word comes to mind, and it's whimsy. Oh, this movie is so whimsical. Moonrise Kingdom of, his... did that come before or after Grand
Before.
It was before.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the trail... It should have just been called Whimsical, the movie.
It's that I never really... I can't think of a Wes Anderson film that I have seen.
There was Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I mean, but I have not seen that movie either. It's like the only thing I've ever seen about Wes Anderson are the commercials and the trailers. Like that is all I've seen of that man. And
frankly, it's about all you need to see.
Yeah. I mean, if you've seen those, then you've seen his body of work.
Well, it's that I would like to see Fantastic Mr. Fox.
That was okay.
Dave's got it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, but it's that I'm always
Stop
cool with,
animation was
yeah.
And it's a Roald Dahl book, so it's not his own story.
right. It's not.
But I do understand like seeing the word whimsical.
Oh yeah.
Even though his shooting style is very very like stagnant.
Yeah. My girlfriend watched this with us and was talking to one of her friends during it, who pointed out, hit the nail on the head. Wes Anderson has access to this amazing group of people. In one film, he had Ray Fiennes, Adrian Brody, Willem Dafoe, Harvey Keitel, Bill Murray.
Oh yeah.
And completely, he has no idea what to do with them when he's got them.
I was just going to stop you there. I didn't actually finish the summary. That was the broad outline. What happens is the Ray Fiennes character ends up inheriting a painting from a woman that he had been... Well, it was an old lady. He apparently had a thing for old ladies. So,
He'd been sexing.
Right. And she passes away, and she leaves him... Now, her son gets the majority of the estate, except for this one very valuable painting, which looked really stupid to me anyway. But he gets it, and...
To be fair, it's the kind of stupid,
Yeah.
boring-looking painting that would go for that much money.
Right.
Because art.
So the son's livid that he gets the painting, and wants to contest the will. Well, Ray Fiennes' character just goes ahead and steals the painting, and just like it's his.
Alert.
It's his. He wants it, so
We're
he takes
saving
it
you an hour
back.
and 40 minutes here.
So he runs back with it. Well, Adrian Brody, the son's character, sends his Willem Dafoe, some sort of henchman, an associate of his. So he's in some weird goth clothing the entire movie and has no lower front teeth.
Jeff Goldblum. I forgot Jeff Goldblum was in this too.
He was the lawyer.
Jude Law and Edward Norton and Ceres Ronan. I
So
said that
they
right.
frame him for murder of the old woman and send him to prison. So the lobby boy has to help run the hotel while he's gone, and then helps break him out. There's a whole big chase scene. Wes Anderson also commits a major faux pas, which is he does a lot of telling and not showing. He's at one point he tips the idea that the love interest of the lobby boy main character, who becomes the owner, he tips the idea that his love interest is going to die. And then there's this big dramatic moment where it seems like she's gonna fall to her death, but she doesn't. And then later he just goes, "Oh, she died later of a disease that was unfortunately not able to be treated in time." Just 3 sentences, and that's how she dies, off screen later in a flashback.
So Great Expectations, great disappointment.
I didn't even expect. My expectations were amazingly low, and he still managed to not meet them.
I think the most insulting thing about the entire movie was the fact that Bill Murray was in it for about less than 3 minutes.
No.
Harvey Keitel also, about 5 minutes of screen time total?
Yeah.
And now here's something that I did not.
There were supposed to be action scenes in this movie, but it's basically them just running from place to place, then talking to people, then running from place to place.
Here's the strangest complaint that I did not think I would have about this movie. It was the use of vulgarity, which would normally never bother me in a film. I'm an enormous Scorsese fan, and Tarantino. I was desensitized to vulgarity at an early age, but Wes Anderson decided to beat you over the head with excessive vulgarity in a setting where it was really not appropriate, not needed.
So it was like, well, what was the scene that you were just like, what?
All over the place.
Just all over the place?
Yeah, hearing Ralph Fiennes in this whimsical setting, throwing out the F-bomb. I'm gonna try to keep this podcast relatively PG-13. But hearing him throw it out in such a fantastical setting just is jarring. I don't know how you felt about it, Chris.
It just kind of glossed. I kind of glossed by me. I knew he was saying, and I knew he would drop it occasionally. But yeah, it was just, It was just. At that point, I was annoyed at so many other things, but it was just. It really didn't sit well with me. It's just the way he was telling the story. And I'm going to bring something up that you told me because I was talking to my friend Jay, and he pointed out something. He hasn't seen Grand Budapest Hotel, but he was telling me how he fell asleep halfway through Darjeeling Limited, or is it Express? Darjeeling Express? Limited. Yeah, he fell asleep halfway through that one, but he said he noticed in stuff that he's seen that Wes Anderson has done, like you did, he always centers his shots.
Oh my God, the framing drives me insane.
Yeah, and that's what I meant when his style is very like stagnant. It's very centered. Like that's what I remember from all like the Wes Anderson commercials. Everybody is at the center line of the frame.
There's no looking room.
Yeah, well, there's no reason.
They're always centered and they're always looking just above the top of the camera.
Yeah.
And that sounds to me like that comes off to me as people will probably celebrate it as signature style, but a lot of times signature style becomes a thing because people mess up in their movies and then it just it explodes.
Did the whole center like frame thing much better though.
Yeah,
is that because it was just like he knew how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing.
Don't ever get the impression that we're trying to compare Wes Anderson to
Stanley Kubrick,
because that's an enormous insult to an otherwise great filmmaker.
In fairness to that great filmmaker, he did tend to be a massive perfectionist who ran his actors and crew like dogs.
Well, that's that.
But I mean, at least Stanley Kubrick knew what he was doing every time.
But yeah, so that's my review of Grand Budapest Hotel. You go for the whimsy, you leave because of the absurd plot, the excessive use of vulgarity, and the complete and utter waste of good actors.
The only bright spots I saw, and I told Dave this way back when I first saw the trailer for it. There was the trailer for Grand Budapest had something in it for the first time that made me laugh out loud at a Wes Anderson film, and that was the scene where Ray Fiennes is confronted by the police, and he's like, "You're saying she was murdered, and you think I did it," and he just runs away. Is easily one of the. There are little bits of physical comedy in there that were actually very funny to me. Like during the prison escape, there's a little bit of physical comedy, and it's just like, well, that's actually genuinely entertaining. And then just
but
went
they're
right.
Not talking.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Because it's physical comedy. You don't have to talk with that.
The less words Wes Anderson put into somebody's mouth, the funnier scenes were that were meant to be
just
funny.
The actor just doing the thing, not using the writing that Wes Anderson did.
Wes Anderson is too fond of his own wordplay, I think.
Mm-hmm. Aren't those the best people?
He's too fond of himself in general.
I guess so. There's a preciousness to what he does, and he's so in love with it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a shame, because I was trying to like it because one of my favorite comedians of all time loves his movies, and it's just like, there's too much detachment to his stuff.
Yeah.
There's just too much. Yeah, like Dave was saying, I didn't even catch how many different framing devices there were with this. It's like, now think about that. How many levels of detachment there are to this movie? Mm-hmm. How am I supposed to be invested in the story when the key players just die off hand? Like he doesn't. By the end of it, he had clearly stopped caring about emotional investment when he was like, "Oh, the love of this guy's life died in with a freak infection." It's like,
if this podcast takes off and we get a lot of listeners, I'm sure we're going to get some Wes Anderson fans out there who
I welcome it. I do.
And
like and subscribe.
Please email me, David Hensley at longwalkproductions.com, and tell me how I didn't get the film and I didn't understand it.
Stop, Dave. Can I just say stop looking for fights right now?
No, always look.
Just find it at 4chan.
So anyway, you've heard about Chris's experience with Lost. This has been my experience with the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Let's hear Zaid's experience
Well,
with.
Well, let's preface this. Zaid is still working on his, so
Yeah.
it looks like we're going to get installments.
Yeah, because it's unfortunately a real chore for me to read a book, and
Okay.
that's why I'm in film.
Reading is a chore, children.
Don't go to college. Anyway,
Reading may be fundamental, but it sure as hell isn't fun.
just watch TV, and then you'll be just like.
You know what I
You're
love
going
about
to pun jail.
You know what I love about TV? No reading.
But in seriousness, like it really was kind of a chore to read it, just because I got through maybe about I've only gotten to the 4th chapter, and I was just like, and it hasn't even gotten to the stuff that people always make fun of. That's the one problem. Now, let's see, how much time are we going on this?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, okay.
You got at least 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll explain 4 chapters.
Do it. Yes.
Anyway, so when going
Finally,
into this,
someone is going to rip this thing apart.
Okay, unfortunately, going into this book, I was expecting some nasty stuff at the beginning, but no. It's just all the. I should have known it was just going to be all the setting the stage and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, women need no romancing before they
I
get
was
into
going to say
BDSM.
the foreplay lasts hours, and but it starts off. It's just about this girl who's living with her roommate. They're on the border of Canada, which is apparently important, and the roommate, not the main character, is a reporter, and she's sick. So she needs her friend, Anastasia, to go to Gray, who's the main character, and he's a millionaire, and interview him about his business. So she's like, I don't know how to interview, so give me some questions to give him. So she gets the questions, goes to his office, and asks him the questions, but then you get all these inner monologues within her head about man, he's handsome, and man, he looks young, and man, he's that, and man, he's this, and man. But it's just, again, it was setting the stage, and I should have been like, oh, no, none of the juicy stuff's going to happen yet. But, now, here are the pros.
Oh, good. Pros.
Here are the pros.
Michael Jordan.
That was the story that I've gotten to, no, I'll explain the story a little bit more where I got to stop.
Get to the part where you hate it.
Well, no, I gotta say some good stuff first. Anyway.
No, you don't.
So, after the interview...
I don't think I said a single good thing about the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, I didn't know he did. Willem Dafoe's in it.
Oh, yeah. Willem Dafoe.
Anyway, so the rest of the story, it goes... She kind of messes up the review, or the interview with him, but he's got a really good interest with her. And she's got an interest with him, but she's like, I never want to see this guy again, because I messed everything up. But then he wants to see her again for some weird reason, and her friend's like, oh, he likes you. And then she's like, oh, you think so? No. 5 chapters of that. And then finally, he just shows up to her work, and it's like,
Women love that.
Oh, because that's
I work in a Home Depot, and this millionaire comes in just to see me. Oh, that happens.
Please tell me she
And-
really works at Home Depot.
Yeah, really.
Well, it's somewhat like it. It's a department store. I call it a Home Depot because her helper. No, that was
So essentially, like a millionaire walks into a Big Lots and just be like, you.
basically.
He just points and goes, you.
And she's all hot and bothered, and because she said it for 3 paragraphs in an inner monologue.
Just
And-
repeatedly, I'm hot and bothered, hot and
But
bothered,
she's
hot and bothered.
confused. It's I think I'm hot and bothered. I'm hot and bothered. Maybe I'm hot and bothered, and that's 5 paragraphs.
Maybe I'm lukewarm and annoyed.
But anyway, so eventually they do a photo shoot and burger, and she almost gets run over by a bicycle. Ooh, and he catches her.
Wow, that really is Twilight-like.
Anastasia, what happened today? Oh, I almost got run over by a bicycle.
That's actually one of the dialogues.
Bicycle?
And when the bicycle almost hits her, because it's oh, get out of the way, girl, you're in the side of the road.
Because it's not like bikes are
maneuvered.
maneuverable.
Said Ludacris.
Wait, it was like a bicycle? Not
Yeah,
like
a bicycle.
No, it's a
rider.
unicycle.
It's not like those are easily maneuverable or anything like that.
But they were on the sidewalk, so it was kind of oh, yeah, that's where. Anyway, the point is,
Again.
she gets scared for a second, and Mr. Gray, the lover man, grabs her and holds him in her arms. What? The volumes? Am I peeking? You did. It'll get fixed in post. Anyway.
Well, no, the other guy who works here is
I'm post.
on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Also, I'm post.
I know. I'm giving
And
you
then,
homework.
then
And I
you
know.
won't know how I feel.
Yep. But anyway,
What?
so
Post.
she gets held in his arms, and she's like, "Oh, kiss me now, kiss me now." And I'm like, "No, that's not what this book's known for. Say something else." Anyway, and then he's like,
This
"Yeah,
book is known for fist me now.
but this." Ooh. But
That's
That was
Anyway,
not PG-13. I'm
no,
sorry.
this is
not
where
that
the
one.
book takes a turn, and I'm like,
It's fine, just don't say swears.
it was the first time in the book that I went, thank God that it's doing this now. He holds her in his arms for like 5 minutes and 5 paragraphs, and
Does it take you 5 minutes to read 5 paragraphs?
it took, yeah, because I was also doing something else. But right before she's like, "Oh, kiss me," in italics.
Italian.
But
What's the matter, you?
Is
Kiss
that
me.
Italian italics?
like all her inner monologue is either in a paragraph and also in italics. Like, so she has inner monologues within her inner monologues.
Oh, good.
So it's like
It's like Inception.
I feel my
it's like,
interest
I feel
collapsing
him
in on
getting
itself.
warm against my body, and then in italics it's like he's so hot.
So it's kind of like if
Is she just,
Twilight
like, summari-
and Inception.
Oh,
were in
no,
a
it's Twilight and the
BDSM.
Grand Budapest.
Well, just so anybody knows,
No.
this is made from a Twilight fan fiction.
Yeah,
So-
if you haven't heard that, that's the best part of the entire thing.
Yeah, this was almost one of those like failure jokes that people like. It's a fail that actually became popular and then now is making thousands of dollars
That is
in a
called
movie.
failing upward.
Yeah,
Or the American Dream.
Either or.
and the Iraq and the maps.
You're talking about the inner monologue. Made me think. It just sounded like her inner monologue was summarizing itself.
Yes,
It's like,
My inner monologues do that all the time.
like because
My
not
inner
only
monologue.
is there the third person narration of stuff, there's also the first person narration of stuff within the inner monologues, and then there's an inner monologue within that inner monologue.
I've read my fair share of poorly formatted.
That was my bladder reading that book. Anyway,
I was saying I've read my fair share of poorly formatted fan fictions where they don't switch between perspectives very well.
And it's
Kung Fu
beautiful.
Panda.
Yeah, where they blatantly just go so and so's POV and then
Yeah, that's basically Kung Fu Panda in a nutshell. But anyway, nothing.
Wait.
One of my buddies wrote a fan fiction about Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, God.
Anyway, it was loosely based on Kung Fu Panda.
just like what is it, Brincato Video's version, which I have seen. It is
Man. But back to the story. The part that made it go, thank God this is happening now, but it took forever to get to. Holding her in his arms, he whispers to her, "I'm not the man that should be with you. I have dark secrets." And then walks away.
and then she feels something
And
poking her.
and she's like, "What are these secrets? How dare he not kiss me?" And that's where I stopped.
I don't, as you should have. I'm fully, after everything you said, you are completely forgiven for not finishing the book for this child.
No, I'm going to
Now-
keep reading because here are the pros. I am a poet. I write poetry. Spoiler alert. I don't tell people that. But I did find the descriptions and all that stuff very well done.
Okay.
I did find
Like,
the way that the
wasn't like
author
purple.
phrased things.
It wasn't like Purple Prose overdone, or
Oh no.
okay.
But like the phrase I can appreciate like being able to describe hair like that of a snowy day, but it's glazed over with ice on top of the snow kind of like just.
Well,
really
as the
keep
book
it straight.
continues, that's not all her hair is glazed over with.
Exactly.
Bruises.
But I don't know that. A glazing of bruise. Anyway,
Wow, you took that in a much darker
Well,
direction than I did.
to be
Hey, my name's
continued.
Kevin. Very good.
to beats continue. Anyway, but
These have been 50 Shades of Grey puns.
you see, I'm going to take this challenge. I'm going to finish this book.
I'm so sorry.
It's going to take multiple things. We're going to make it a running gag, if anything, and just so Zaid, how are you?
Kind of
in
like
your
Anastasia's
chamber
running
watching?
gag.
Oh yeah, we'll do updates. That'll be
No, just
fine.
for
We
gag.
will do updates on this.
No one heard my pun, but
That's
I've-
going to be like
I've learned to tune them out.
There's no fun to be had.
like that's probably going to be our new thing. It's like we do a subject, and you're like, "Well, Zaid, how are you in your danger cave reading 50 Shades?" And I'm like,
The danger
"Well,
cave.
I got this new scar, and
Is that from the book? Is that what they call their love nest?
I don't know yet.
The danger
We'll
cave.
find out on the next episode."
Because if they didn't, then that's just where I give up on the book entirely.
wow.
The danger cave.
So that's that.
New podcast name.
Yeah. Next time on Dragon Ball
man.
Z.
I don't know, Dave. I guess maybe we're the outliers because according to Rotten Tomatoes, this movie is 92% with critics, 86% with people, with viewers.
Good.
We're going back
Yeah,
to the
Grand
Budapest
Budapest.
Hotel.
Oh.
I was just looking that up
You
while
know,
Zaid searched.
I do not understand it.
What's heartening is the critics who didn't like it said the same things we did. Like Bruce Bennett. Hundreds of precious little moments, but not much beyond extravagant artifice to sink your teeth into.
What's Bruce Bennett's job?
I'm assuming
He's-
film
he's-
critic.
He's a firefighter.
He's with the Spectrum in
Yeah.
St. George,
Utah. No crap.
works for the
Utah
state.
agrees with us. Anderson's film looks good enough to eat. Swallowing it is another matter, says Melissa Anderson from Art Forum.
Oh, there we
Which
go.
also relates back to 50 Shades.
Maybe they're in the same universe.
Ooh, this
Someone make that fan fiction.
Oh, God.
Ooh, this person does not like Wes Anderson at all. A typically witless comedy from Wes Anderson that has about as much to do with Stefan Zweig as it does with World War II and Nazism, the disasters that led to Zweig's suicide in 1942. A total travesty. I guess maybe it's based on a real-life thing of some sort. I don't really care enough to look up.
Yeah, I don't either. Oh, dear God.
And there's people who say things like, eloquent, offbeat, and charming. The Grand Budapest Hotel is Anderson's most accomplished film to date.
It accomplished something.
You know what? I would probably enjoy his movies if they weren't feature length. If they were shorts.
You know what? He would probably do okay doing
probably-
those as shorts.
He probably has done a
Because-
lot of shorts.
Yeah, I'm
Because-
pretty sure he has.
Yeah.
Good, and he should stick with those because if he's forced to condense himself, he might be interesting.
Okay, well, do we want to cut it off there for this week?
Yeah, let's cut it off right at the legs. It's just,
Yeah.
I think we.
try one of these uncomfortable comfort
Uh-huh.
zone challenge. Whatever.
Oh, what should we give him?
All right.
I mean, so far I've watched Chillerama.
And you're saying that wasn't a wonderful time?
That was a wonderful time.
If the werebear thing was in there.
Really,
but-
it's the werebear part that turned you off?
yeah, it was the werebear part that turned me off.
It wasn't.
No, I loved the Diary of Anne Frankenstein. Like that was. It's like,
Oh, yeah, that was pure brilliance.
That
Oh,
was
it's-
wonderful.
It was
it's pure-
offensive brilliance.
Oh, it was wonderful, offensive brilliance. But let's see, there was the Raid 2 that already happened. That's a whole discussion in itself. About as long as the movie.
Now, do we want to keep switching it up? Because we did book, TV show, movie.
I'd say whatever. I don't really care.
I'm down.
There are really no rules to this.
Well, let's find out what you like.
Let's hold
Let's
off
not
on.
do that.
we're having a personality test. Oh dear.
Well, and also let's hold off on books. I mean, books. Let's probably not die to go
that's a
for
good
books.
point. All right, so tell us some of your favorite things, Ted.
Well, I like.
Tell us about you.
I like. Let's see, whiskers on kittens and wild paper packages tied up in strings.
Wait
These
a
are
minute.
my favorite things.
This sounds plagiarized.
No, but it's like I like a lot of just like dark stories. Like one of my favorite movies is Perfume: The Story of a Murderer,
Right.
which is like in my
That is a
opinion
great movie.
is a great movie. It's a beautiful movie. Very well shot. The music is wonderful, but that's a totally different subject. But you know, I like a lot of different kinds of things. I'd say just like throw something out there, and I'll just be like, all right, I'll give you my opinion in a week.
But ask me something he wouldn't do.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Man.
Let's
That's a
see.
Tyler Perry movie.
Oh, that's mean. And that's from the guy who immediately suggested Wes Anderson.
Oh.
Yeah, I do consider a Tyler Perry challenge to be.
That's mean because it just seems like.
Can we try something else? How about what's it like hanging yourself?
Yeah, okay, so there's your options. Watch a Tyler Perry movie.
Or hang myself.
No.
Let's see.
No.
Twine or chain link? God.
I don't know. I think in that situation I would have to hang myself.
You know what we should do? Make them watch Clueless.
Clueless?
Yeah.
The 90s Alicia Silverstone movie?
Yeah.
Have you not seen it?
Oh, no.
Okay.
It
doesn't sound as torturous as what the rest of us went through, though.
Yeah.
I've read a few like really bad fan fictions.
But
Oh
that
my
was,
God.
That was by your choice.
Here we go. I got it.
Oh,
I want you to
my God.
read as much as you possibly can of My Immortal.
No, I think you have. Haven't you? Have you read that before?
Yeah.
What is that? I think I've heard of it.
It's the what is
That's-
Was it like the Harry
Well,
Potter?
see, now that's not a that'll wrap around into possibly being fun though. It's just
see, here's the thing: is that
it is a Harry Potter one. It's one of the
it's
most
that
infamous.
I enjoy a very bad fan fiction.
It is.
And I will
It's-
come back and I will read it to you.
It is very easily so.
Then again,
bad,
I
it's
don't think
good.
there's any way for you to read My Immortal and then come back and review it for us and still keep this podcast PG-13.
Yeah.
From everything that I understand, and I have myself.
I can come up with my
trying to
own like
read it.
censor words.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I'm trying to. It's hard to just toss that out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I knew going into this somebody was going to have to read 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
You knew that because you were going to suggest it at some point, no
Yes, I
matter
was.
what.
I had that one
Tucked away.
tucked away.
This is
in my
You're
back
a
pocket.
Listeners,
Cool,
please
man.
like, comment, and subscribe. And then put in the comments, what is a horrible thing that I should do?
Hey, let's do that. Let's put it on Facebook. What horrible thing should Ted do?
I like that. Yeah, let's throw it out there.
That brings some
I
audience
feel-
participation.
Let's see who's really
I
listening.
feel like we're getting away from the actual premise, which is just going outside of your comfort zone, not finding horrible things for each other to do.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think we should really narrow it down. It's like we don't want any like
Long,
horrible-
hard talk.
Like, what do you normally shy away from?
All right, go on a date with a prostitute.
No! Watch the My Little Pony series.
The scary thing is that I might actually start to enjoy it.
Here's the measure for this test. Now, I wish that you could have seen your own face when I threw out 50 Shades of Grey. I enjoyed your face when your options were Lost or Breaking Bad, and I know that I made a face when you threw out Grand Budapest Hotel. We have to throw something out there that gets that same reaction out of Ted.
Mm-hmm.
When we just see the hatred boil over in him, and
Well, not
everything
hatred,
grinds
just
to a halt
like I
on his
said,
face.
I'm very sure I made a very uncomfortable face when you suggested either of those things.
Gossip Girl.
What?
What's that? Is that the show that Sean and Norman are all over?
What?
Oh,
I-
no.
That's a
Oh,
Gilmore.
that's Gilmore Girls. I actually spent a night watching it with them. That was actually really fun.
Gilmore Girls isn't that
Sex in
bad.
the City.
Hey.
There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you made a face. What?
Yep.
You got a poker face.
Oh.
So
That's
Ted now has to watch Sex in the City.
Yeah. Now, your average TV show is anywhere between 13 and 23, 24 episodes a season.
Usually, yeah.
So 6 is a good
I'll drop it to 4.
4 because
We're not going for the death penalty, David.
because of the severity of this.
The severity.
Like
Of
if you're
this
gonna
challenge.
if you're gonna suggest a show like
Watching
if it-
4 women and a horse trying to find men.
well okay maybe
Spoiler alert: horse was the lead.
maybe 6 for that one because it's a half-hour show. I think if we do
I don't know. That was for
Is that- HBO,
Yeah.
but
HBO episodes are
syndication
an hour.
chopped it up.
When it was in the city, it was on TBS. It was a half hour.
That
Okay.
when they chop it up for
Okay.
when they chop it up for syndication, it's a half hour.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So they have 4.
I've
For hour-long shows, we're not going to go that far.
I've had the misfortune. Girl I lived with a couple of years ago loved this show and would watch it on DVD and in syndication.
Oh yeah, when I'm over at my mom's house, it's something I usually if I'm in the living room. My mom, I love her to death, but she's got some of the weirdest viewing habits. Not well, I wouldn't say weird, but she absolutely loves 2 things in particular. She loves Lifetime movies and terrible B-grade sci-fi movies. She was delighted for Mother's Day when I gave her Sharknado.
Awesome.
And yeah, she loves stuff like that, and so she'll often end up watching. She loved Sex in the City when it was on. So I mean, I had nothing. I mean, nothing against her. So if it's, she works hard during the week at her job, and if that's what she wants, and if that's what she wants to come home and watch to relax. And
That's all right. My mom loves Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey.
Dave's been dragged to every Twilight. You're going to get dragged to a 50 Shades of Grey movie.
No, that's where I'm drawing the line.
Oh,
no,
my
thankfully I got out of having to see the last.
But
yeah.
but you might have to have that conversation with your mom. She might bring it up.
She's gonna bring it up. That's where I draw the line.
I'm
not watching BDSM sex with my mom. All right.
You're just gonna sit down.
But
That's worse than going
from
to
what
300.
doesn't your mom write books?
Shameless plug.
Now this is gonna become a running gag, isn't it?
Yeah, it is now. Like, cause I'm pretty sure doesn't your
Yes. Now, I'm sorry.
Can we
Now, hold on.
procure a copy of said book?
Now hold on. Did you bring that up because they did it last week?
No, because you're saying it's just like going to see a 50 Shades of Grey movie with your mom, and I'm thinking 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes,
David's mom.
and I'll tell you what.
Doesn't she write those?
Oh, we can end the podcast here. I'm so happy.
Can my challenge be I read one of your mom's books?
Absolutely. The difference, and I said this when Zayd brought it up, the difference between 50 Shades and my mom's books is that my mom's books don't have BDSM in them.
And Dave would know. He edited them.
Yes, I did, because I love my mother. And
Yeah.
if anyone challenges that, I'll stab you.
Why are you holding a pen? You have a knife.
And if anyone challenges that...
Why did I remind him he had a knife?
Hold on. I can just keep going. And if anyone challenges that...
Holy shit. Whoops,
That's
sorry.
not a real gun. He might.
That's not a real gun.
I've seen
it's
it.
a very real gun.
I've seen your actual gun. That's not a real gun.
I think he's...
And if anyone challenges that...
Oh, there you go.
He will cock airsoft pistols at you.
Yes. One airsoft gun, one blank firing gun.
Ooh.
Very
Oh yeah, that's the one we use for
behanding. We use this in behanding.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they put on a production of Behanding in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That was actually really good.
So is that it? Do you want to read one of her books?
I think I might
In the
stick more.
future.
I think I might stick more with the Sex in the City.
Okay.
Because
choice.
Because to be honest, I love reading, and I might actually have fun reading your mom's books.
Yeah, you know, which is good.
That sounds like
You can find them on Amazon.com. Her name is Brenda Kay. Just throwing that out there.
That sounds like
shameless plug for my mom.
That was the weirdest dismissal. I was like, I enjoy reading, and I don't want to accidentally enjoy this book.
Well, no, it's like I don't want to. There was no accident to be had.
Well,
But it's like, quick pro quo, kids. Reading is important.
Yes.
no, we established earlier it wasn't.
Yeah. Thanks.
But yeah, it's,
Thanks, Obama.
I will bite the bullet and I will watch
Sure.
Sex in the City.
If you want to start with season 6, my mom has that.
I think they're on
Just
Netflix.
jump in
You don't-
the middle of it.
You don't want to. Well, that's true. You don't want to skip over all that important lore.
The lore
This
of
isn't
Sex in the
canon.
City.
David isn't canon. The character.
You know, the
David,
one
not
thing I
this
love
David.
is just watching a bunch of crows and a horse.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, we are. It's time to tag it and bag it.
Yep. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. By the time you're listening to this, we'll be right in the middle of production.
Yeah.
So, huzzah.
pretty sure you're going to get a podcast at some point after this movie is over entirely about the experience, because I guarantee it's going to be a good
actually,
one.
I was gonna talk to you about maybe we can get maybe Chris and Amy to sit down with us and.
I think you want to do a special.
We can certainly do that.
Getting ahead of ourselves at this point, but by the time you listen to this, the special will probably already be out.
At least now that we're talking about it right now, I'll remember to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and stay tuned for our next one, where Ted Patterson discusses Sex and the City.
I will have notes.
Oh, I can't wait for the next episode.
All right.
No
Bye, everyone.
See ya.